Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Dream Agent Academy. Thank you for being here. So, in today's video, we're going to be talking about something that is quite important because we want to set the stage for what is it that we are trying to do. So, in terms of all the steps, all the homework, all the activities that we're going to be doing, I will go over them today, so that just so you know what you will be engaged with and what is the kind of activities that you need to engage to do. Okay, so the first thing first, let me share quickly my document. So in terms of selling life insurance, what we do, we need to understand that there are only four stages. And the following is a timeline, and these are the four stages inside that timeline. So if we take the first one, is basically this is where we research and we start building audience. At this point, people, our dream customer, dream avatar, they don't even know us. They don't even know we exist. So at this point, we are just doing the homework and making sure that we are targeting laser target on a uh, specific customer. The next stage is where we start building an awareness in this market, and at this point we start engaging, we start being active, they start seeing us on a daily basis. We build the know, like, and trust. We build the familiarity. So at this point, things start to move in the right direction, and then at the end of this period, we move into people into a sales calls. We invite people to a sales call, and this is where we make a pitch. And at this point, either they say yes, this is what we want, or they say no. And at this point, if they say no, then we move them into the last place where we can keep our relationship and keep our presence even uh, stronger, and make that nurturing process even bigger. So we move them into a group or community, whatever community, either it's school or group, Facebook group, or whatever you choose. And then we keep nurturing them, and eventually we pitch them. We make them other offers until they say yes. This is basically the process that every single agent out there is engaging already in, but they don't know it, or they have never took the time to articulate it. Okay, so the point that I'm trying to do here is basically cover the whole thing, so that you have at least an idea of what is it, the map that we will be taking to reach our goals, to move from this point all the way to this point. So the first thing that we're going to be doing is basically researching and building audience based on specific criterion. So this is, of course, we're going to have to do some demographics, some psychographics. We're going to need to filter by market. We need to filter by other filters. But the idea is this is very, very important. And if we do this right, everything will be right, because our message will be built on that specific avatar. We know exactly where they are located, where they are hanging out, so we can go there, we can start conversations. So everything basically flows from being able to articulate and research and build an audience that you want to do business with. The next thing is leveraging the reach and creating awareness in our market. This basically is very important, because we want to make sure that we know what we're doing. So in terms of the reach, we want to make sure that we have in our hands a few tools. We can reach our audience through a one-on-one, and we can reach them through a one-to-many. Reaching people through one-to-many has much power, because with one piece of content, we are able to touch the masses, and we can communicate that point and make people raise their hand and say, hey, what are you talking about? What do you have? And this in itself is very powerful, because we don't take we save some time, and we leverage the power of the internet. That's the point. We do that, of course, through content and through DMs. Both this operation, the one-to-many and one-on-one, is based on content and DMs. The DMs is one-to-one and content is through one-to-many. The next thing is the ecosystem emergent, and the ecosystem emergent, we want to make sure that we have an ecosystem well crafted. For example, on LinkedIn, on the news feed, that's a one ecosystem where you get to interact with people know you, people start noticing you, you post content, people start engaging with it. That's one ecosystem. Once we build the second ecosystem, which is your LinkedIn group or your Facebook group, depend on what you're using and where is your dream customer are. Once we build these two ecosystems, basically these two ecosystems start feeding each other, and there is so much power that comes from the fact that you have this one feeds of the other, because you get a customer from your news feed, you move them into your group, and then you start nurturing at your group, and they start seeing not just content that you put on your group but also on your newsfeed, and this just creates a cycle of reinforcement of the message and familiarity, which eventually lead to helping you position yourself and pitch in comfortably, because you become basically a warm audience for your clients. The next thing is setting up touch points along the journey map. And this is very important because we want to make sure that we are basically once a week or twice a week, we are setting up some touch points where we can get people to raise their hand, say, what do you got there? These touch points are in form of lead magnets, where we tell people about something special that they need to, we speak about something, then we give them a choice to ask for more details. And once they ask for more, they raise their hand and say, yes, can I have that? Then that's the beginning of a serious conversation that is warm, and that you don't go and ask people to sell them, that where people come to you and they asking you for a favor. So it's powerful. The next thing is videos. So we deliver a message on video, and by the end of the video, we pitch them on something, and that get people excited, wanting to know more about that what you are about. So there are a lot of things that we can do here. We'll discuss them later on. There are a number of things. Next is message to audience match. This is very, very powerful, because if we don't have a message to market match, we will be always playing a Russian roulette. So once your message is specific towards a specific audience using a specific media, then all the line of communication is well crafted, and we have absolutely we know that our message has impact for sure, and that's what we want. We don't want to be speaking to people that we don't want to speak to. We want to have exactly that message goes and land into the right ears, and that's why I said at the very beginning, it is so much important to understand, to define at the very beginning who we want to do business with. Becoming a trusted advisor in any chosen market, doesn't matter what it is. If you can get to a point where you become a trusted advisor, then you will be always running after people. And that's why we see, for example, in the car industry, selling cars, people are using all kind of sales tactics and being salesy and all that stuff and slick and all that, because there is no specific, they don't have a well-crafted marketing strategy that's allowed them to get people online and get them to. So every time there is a client who show up, they consider that's the only chance they have. So they start being aggressive. We don't want to be aggressive. We want to stand above and beyond everybody else, and we want to differentiate ourselves by being a trusted advisor. And what I mean exactly by trusted advisor is basically people would want to come and ask you questions. And you do that by being present, by delivering value, and by just building that momentum with your audience, not rushing things. The last thing, not last thing, not the next thing is content, and content is a heavy topic. But what I can say about the content is there are a few things that we will try to do with content. The purpose of content first is to build momentum, and building momentum comes in a different shapes and forms. First, building momentum comes from the fact that we, because of content, we are able to move ourselves from complete stranger uh, into a warm uh, person that people are willing to speak to. So that's the first thing. So moving through the journey of the buying journey from completely cold to warm, if not hot. The next thing is that we want to use our content to move a client or prospect from completely uh, uh, just nothing to somebody who want to know more. And we do that basically by using the value, the value, the belief shifting, and the lead magnet style of content that allow us to create that momentum and to build that momentum. Because once you deliver value, then you deliver a shifting, belief shifting post, and you end up moving into a lead magnet. Then that creates momentum in the mind of your client, and it get them excited without pushing things too fast and getting people to want them to speak to you. So you are creating momentum. The next thing content does is helping you building bonds with our audience. That's what I mentioned. Beyond just business, we rely on the RVL formula, which is stands for results, value, and lifestyle. So once we start building, putting content out there, we deliver, we diversify our content by not just speaking, giving value, or just giving lead magnet or anything like that. We diversify our content in so many different forms, especially the lifestyle, speaking about past experience, speaking about what we do with our kids, with our lives. So these reinforces our relationship with our audience and get us to a point where people feel comfortable speaking to us. Finally, the mindset shift, and this is very, very important because we want to make sure that we are moving out of the scarcity mindset into the becoming magnetic. So we don't want to always be driven with scarcity, and because that shows. That's what I mentioned. Being a car salesman, it shows. At the end of the day, it shows. So you want to, instead of approaching business and approaching speaking to client through this scarcity mindset, we want to approach people through uh, helping them, through adding value, through wanting to know more about them, what they do, and about their personal life first. Then, once we understand that, then it's so much easy to move into positioning our offer or our product to help them solve whatever issue they have. And finally, automation. Automation comes as the last step, and a lot of people, they try right now to use automation, and but if you haven't taken the time to build the right foundation, it is certain that you will not automation will not have the right ground on which to stand. So it's very important that we use foundation once we build the right audience, once we build familiarity with that audience and they start knowing, like, and trust us. Once we have already established some sort of authority in the market, and at that point we can easily start getting prospects. For example, we can put a lead of magnet out there and then filter through a bot and move people through different places without even speaking to them, and move only those who are buyers in heat, who wants to solve the problem immediately, into sales calls. So we save so much time, so much effort, and on the top of everything, we are in control of our operation. All right, so this is basically the major areas that we are able to work and use inside the Dream Agent Academy. And this is why it may seem like don't get don't get crazy, because it may seem that like a lot of work, but it's not. It's just small pieces of work that needs to build and stack up on the top of each other so that it can get a result. Okay, so with that being said, I'll close here. If you guys have any questions, please make sure to leave them below, and I'll be more than happy to return those questions. Have a good day. Talk soon.